The history of the United States and Islamic countries is a complicated one, marred with misconceptions and mystery. If you ask the average American about Sharia law, their narrative would surely include a tyrant or an oppressor in a distant land that would chop off your hand if you stole a loaf of bread. But for the 3.5 million Muslims who call the United States home, Sharia law or Islamic law is much more nuanced than that. America, being a land that is home to many religions, there is one core belief that binds us together: capitalism. Free enterprise is the backbone of this country. With millions of its citizens practicing Islam, one must question, as it pertains to business, just how different Islamic law varies from the law of the land. In order to understand how Sharia law translates in the pursuit of the American dream, we must first understand the history of Muslims in America. Welcome to Sharia Law versus Capitalism.
Well, the Nation of Islam is the beginning of Islam. Islam had quite a few teachers came in America, but the Nation was the most powerful movement in this country under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his wife, Sister Clara. And the basis of do for self and the changing of our image. We had wrong self-image and had bad self-esteem. We was a people that didn't love ourselves. We didn't know ourselves. We hate ourselves. And that's why we abuse ourselves. We went to the drugs and alcohol. And so Elijah Muhammad was not only a self-reformer, a social scientist, but he changed the image and he taught us financial freedom of your mighty people. You can accomplish what you will. That was the motivation. That was the inspiration behind him. Not only for himself, a lot of people miss the changeover, but his son brought us into the straight way, the sunnah of Muhammad. But he kept the basics. There have never been a teacher like Elijah when it comes for economic dignity. So we kept it going. It was always in certain people that came from that movement. That was our life, that was our purpose, to save our people.
Economic philosophy of black nationalism only means that we have to become involved in a program of re-education to educate our people into the importance of knowing that when you spend your dollar out of the community in which you live, the community in which you spend your money becomes richer and richer. The community out of which you take your money becomes poorer and poorer.
There was a lot of excellent efforts. However, there was an issue when it comes to the check and balance. And you had certain powers that in authority that was abused. And it was coming, we were coming more out of the beauty of the religion of al-Islam. So Imam Muhammad made sure and put emphasis that we as a community not lose the good of the nation, that all of what was good in the nation we should keep, and we should put emphasis on it in our community today. But a part of his job was to remove us from the things that will cause our demise. And any people demise in history, and that is immorality. So he pushed us to study Quran, study the life of the Prophet, and by doing so, you arrive at not just being a business person, but being an excellent business person as Muhammad the Prophet was. You'll be an excellent business person as taught by the Quran, and you would exemplify the best in business, period. And that's what Muhammad the Prophet represented. And those who followed his way, they represented that throughout history.
We visited with the great-grandson of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who now serves as principal of Muhammad Schools of Atlanta in East Atlanta, Georgia, an elementary, middle, and high school that has a long and deep history of shaping Muslim leaders and business people.
is really just connecting it with the things that they do in their day-to-day life. Is you're showing them how, let's say, for example, the rules on usury. Interest is everywhere. Everywhere we look. Me myself, in terms of buying a house, buying a car, all of these things come with interest, and that's one of the big things that Sharia law teaches against. It's usury to charge somebody interest, puts them in a bad position, and it's really just a matter of breaking it down for the student into understandable terms, workable terms, something that they can understand even a 5-year-old.
I think it's just a code in the ethics of how you carry yourself, one as a human being, but also as a Muslim. And it's fairness, it's honesty, it's fair dealing, it's all the good things that Islam teaches us as Muslims. That's my definition of Sharia law. It's just carrying yourself in a certain manner as you should as a Muslim following this faith.
Right.
Yeah.
Anytime you have control of a particular domain, you're just talking about controlling your geography. Every person has to have rules, regulations, in order for that society, that community, to operate effectively and efficiently. And the Quran comes as a guidance for man's life. And when you're operating and developing a community or a society, then you have to have rules and regulations to help guide man in that society. And the best guidance is the Quran. So that is Sharia. So Sharia is guidance for the life of man that's codified in rules and regulations to best preserve, maintain, and advance the people, right? And I think that, and Sharia is different for every geography or every group of people. In fact, the word Sharia is actually coming from the same word that means street, like the actual physical street. And there's multiple streets. Like we say, we got Black Wall Street. So the rules on Black Wall Street are different from the rules on Pakistani Street. But our rules, all of our rules you should be able to look at our rules and see Quran in our rules. You shouldn't be able to see any other, there should be no overriding influence in our law that overrides the Quran. The Quran is first, then it's the life of the Prophet, and then it's sound judgment from a group of people of sound mind and sound heart. So I think that when we kind of connect it back to business is just an aspect of our life. It's not the fullness of our life, right? It's a part of our life, and the purpose of business is to help advance our life. Anytime you interact in business and it's not meant to advance the life of the human being, then it's no different than Cain killing his brother Abel. Cain represented the industrialist, Abel represented the socialist, but Cain killed his brother Abel, which means that there will be a time in which the people will put commercial interests above the social man. And that's the time that we actually live in the now. And our laws that we codify, that we create, it will bring balance. You could have Cain and you could have Abel. They were brothers of Adam, according to the scriptures. And you should have both, but they both should be able to operate and work together. In fact, if Cain kills his brother, or if the industrialist kills the people, then you don't have people now to help advance the business.